David Huff has asked, any good Ole Anderson stories?
Well, Ole gets a bad rep sometimes from guys who don't understand him. He's rough and he's gruff. But my relationship with Ole, he never told me anything that he didn't fulfill. He told me I was going to make such money. He also understood my deal with Japan, and he was good with it. Uh, Ole would say things because it's like dealing with Andre to a degree. There's no shades of gray.
Hmm.
Andre would tell you this way or that way. He's not going to, there's no gray. It's white or black. And Ole was sort of the same. So a lot of people didn't like him because he didn't tell them what they wanted to hear. A lot of people liked him because he told them what they wanted to hear. So my relationship with Ole is sort of unique because I listen to all these other guys that hate him, and maybe I don't know their situation, but my dealings with him are all good.
When people start talking about, like the greatest bookers of all time, and you were a booker as well at one point, Ole's name doesn't really seem to get thrown out there that much. It's more like, the Bill Watson, Eddie Grahams, and that kind of thing. What was Ole's booking style, and what were his strengths as a booker?
I thought he was a good booker. I thought he would take advantage of the talent that he had. He always kept himself strong, but not super strong. A lot of bookers want to be involved. They want to make sure that they're the main event or right on that same level. Ole understood that he might have to step in. Circumstances might arise where he has to put his foot back in the main event. So you can't bury yourself. So maybe you're mid card or semifinal. Uh, and he would push guys. Maybe he didn't like them, but he would push guys because he saw the dollars that they would make. A lot of bookers don't push the guys because maybe there's petty jealousy or they're more over than they are. Uh, I thought he was a good booker. George Scott was a good booker. I worked for Bill Watts. Uh, there was a lot of guys that I was fortunate enough to learn from.
Well, I was actually going to ask who were your sort of inspirations as a booker. So it sounds like from what you're saying, George Scott was the prime person who you base your
Yeah,
booking style
George
off.
Scott. Well, and I give George credit because after all, he gave me the gimmick. So I sort of put him on a different shelf. But I saw George deal with a lot of adversity and sometimes animosity. But there again, he was focused on making money for the company. And when we were in Charlotte, I mean, that was on fire, that place. Everybody wanted to come to Charlotte.
Mm-hmm.
And then it transferred down to Georgia. And there again, Ole was booking Georgia and Charlotte. And both of them were making money.
Did you? Well, I'm pretty sure you did. How often did you wrestle Ole and Jean?
As the Mongols, we wrestled them for a series until we lost the belts. And that's when I transitioned into the Mass Superstar. Uh, Guido went home and I stayed and became Mass Superstar. I would say maybe a total of a dozen times, 15 maybe.
Was it Jean who had the unbelievably powerful handshake?
Yeah. But there again, my 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 experience in Japan, Gene could be stiff. And he figured I was a young guy, I'm sure. He wasn't doing it maliciously, but he was playing games. And we had I remember 2 or 3 nights in a row we're working, and he's pretty snug. So I was mentioning to Guido, says, give him a potato. So the next 2 or 3 nights I gave him potato. It's amazing how soft he got after that. He said, you almost killed me, kid.
Who have I never asked this before, but of all the people with like the strongest grip strength we hear, like Harley Race and Gene, and I'm going to blow his name now, the guy from who worked for Danny Hodge.
Danny Hodge. I never met Danny Hodge, but I
No,
heard that. Sweet Hansen. Sweet Anson was a tough guy. And there again, I was fortunate enough to be in a fortunate or unfortunate. I'm working with Swede in one of the small towns in the Carolinas, and I'm getting heat on him. And all of a sudden, the ring gets filled up with all kind of fans, and they're coming after me. And I'm fighting it through it, and Swede's picking them off left and right, and boom, boom, and they're going out the ring. So I thanked him after that. But Swede was a one tough guy.
Mm. I remember him being in the say I wasn't even born at the time, but I've seen him in the WWF in like the 80s when he was doing like guest refereeing and stuff like that, and I just had no idea who he was. Also,
Yeah, he was working in there. I think he came back to the Carolinas just as we came in as the Mongols. Yeah.